So instead, we will take a group photo. So, Brother Khalil, can you help? Or anyone will take a group photo, right?
Oh, I think Jason can do but I'm gonna handle the other one.
Am I take? Can.
Take.
Can.
Let's maybe you can unshare first. Would it be fine?
Okay, can.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So everyone, and you look at the camera, please. Okay, Mr. Ui, I think your camera can go up a bit so that you can go in. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. How about Sylvia? How about our speaker actually went to the came back already. Okay. How about this person, Muhammad?
Judin is back.
Okay. There's another LHDN officer, which the screen is on, but nobody is there. Do we need to wait for this person?
Coming back. Speaker coming back.
All right.
Miss Chow. Atras. Atras.
Okay.
So, anyone short?
No, not yet, because we're waiting for speaker, right?
The speaker is Kamim Takdudin, and another one, Atras and Muhammad Afrif.
Yeah, Muhammad Arif.
I'm in already.
Yeah. And Muhammad Afrif. Arif. Muhammad Arif. Yeah, Muhammad Arif.
Arif, open your camera.
On already. Just
cannot see your face.
Yeah.
Okay, now can see.
Okay, great. Okay,
Yes.
everyone. All right, Miss Chow. Okay.
Miss Chow.
Okay, everyone, look at the camera. Okay, give your best smile.
Chow want to take off the mask.
Yeah, please. Otherwise, nobody knows who are you. All right, okay, Miss Chow. Okay, let's look at the camera. 3, 2, 1. Okay, great one. Okay, thank you. Got it already? There's Sylvia. Sylvia just joined. I think we need to retake again.
Yeah.
One moment. Okay.
Disconnected.
Hi, Sylvia. Can you on your video?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay. Okay. Let's retake the photo again. Miss Chow, can you on your video again? Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Let us look at the camera. 3, 2, 1. All right. Nice one. Thank you so much for everyone's cooperation. Thank you.
I'll play the video.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam. We have a few technical difficulties. Can you start in 5 minutes?
In 5 minutes.
We need to delay it, yeah, in 5 minutes.
Delay a bit. Okay. Is it live already?
It's already live.
It's already live. Okay.
Okay. The issue has been solved, so you may start any time you want lah. Yes. Right.
A very good morning to everyone. Good morning. Can you guys hear? Yeah. All right. Awesome. So good morning to everyone. Good morning and welcome to our E-Filing and E-Invoicing Management Workshop. My name is Sam. I'm your host or the MC for today. And I do believe that you guys come with the end in mind, right? So before we start, maybe we can actually look at this saying. There's a saying, if let's say your girlfriend or your boyfriend calls you, you know that it's a benevolent call, you will definitely welcome it, right? But what about if let's say it's a LHDN call? What happened? Okay, what happened? You know lah, huh? Okay, so in order, there's a joke lah, it's actually a joke. In order to avoid all the issues that arise in the future, right? So it's best that we prepare ourselves. Am I right? Prepare ourselves by absorbing the knowledge and incorporate it in our system so that no issue anymore. If let's say LHDN calls you, it's only to puji you, okay? Give you compliments, say it's very good lah, you very good, okay? All right. So without much delay, let us start our our seminar by today. Okay, so our first, Khalil, can you go for the next slide? Our first agenda, we will actually honor our country with Negaraku, our country song. Okay, let us, with respect and honor, thank you so much. Thank you for MFPC. So if you guys do not know who is MFPC, it's actually stand for Malaysian Financial Planning Council. And today, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the guests of honors, which includes our staff management from MFPC. We have Mr. Karil, we have Mr. Shipal, okay, and a lot of our MFPC Penang chapters committee member. If you guys can on your video and wave to the camera, it will be good. Yeah, all right. And not to forget our LHDN, our Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negara speakers, honor speakers, Mr. Muhammad Taqiyuddin. Okay, hi. Mr. Muhammad Arif, hi. And we have Miss Chow, hi. Puan Atras, hi. Okay, and thank you so much to everyone. Okay, so without much delay, let us go to the next agenda for the day. We have our first welcoming speech from our Ketua LHDN, right? Can we go for the next slide? Yes, welcome address by Tuan Haji Nasruddin bin Mat Nasil. He is the LHDNM Penang State Director. So let us welcome. Pass to you.
Thank you, your Master of Ceremony. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And a very good morning. Yang dihormati Mr. Charles Tan Swee Chun, Chairman of Penang Chapter, Malaysian Financial Planning Council, MFPC, distinguished guests, speakers, participants, Secretariat of the Organizing Committee, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to thank MFPC for inviting me to deliver my opening speech at this webinar of E-Filing and E-Invoicing Management Workshop. And also thank you for taking the effort in organizing today's workshop for the public via video conferencing using Zoom platform. I would like to express my sincere appreciation and humbly thank the organizer for inviting officers from Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia to join these tax briefing sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, The main aims of today's workshop are to introduce our single sign of portal, which is my tax, to educate and raise public awareness about the importance of income tax in Malaysia, tax filing and the system itself, and also to provide the taxpayers with an overview of the e-invoicing. E-filing is a method available in the MyTax portal, which enables taxpayers to fill and submit income tax return form easily, quickly and securely electronically. On the other hand, e-invoice is a digital representation of a transaction between a supplier and a buyer. E-invoices replaces paper or electronic documents such as invoices, credit notes, and debit notes. It contains the same essential information as the traditional or manual document. I believe the details will be covered by our speakers today. With that, I wish you all a very fruitful briefing session, and I hope this session will benefit all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our Tuan Haji. All right. So with the welcoming speech address, let us move on to our first speaker of the day, right? So, So our speaker is known as Mr. Muhammad Taqiyuddin bin Amin Ludin. He is actually the Revenue Executive, Tax Education Units, LHDNM Penang. He's IRB of Malaysia, okay, of IRB of Malaysia. And Mr. Muhammad Taqiyuddin is currently been involved in the customer service for more than 3 years and have served as the Deputy Customer Care Officer of Penang branch for year 2022. Currently, he involved in the Tax Education Unit as well. He holds a Bachelor of International Affairs and Diplomacy Honours degree from UUM. He also holds an Advanced Diploma in Professional Taxation from Malaysian Tax Academy, IRBM. He has 7 years experience in AirAsia and Emirates Airlines company as cabin crew prior to joining IRBM. Surprise, huh? And he joined IRBM in 2016 and had served in various units, including BKK unit, collection unit, SVDP tax unit, and Hasil Care Group. So Mr. Muhammad Taqiyuddin, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, I pass to you then.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sam. Thank you very much for the introductions for today. All right. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, especially to Mr. Charles, the chairman of MFPC, and all the participants that joined our program today. I hope can you guys hear me clearly? All right. Okay. Regarding our program today. So today I will go and give a talk about the e-filing. All right. I believe some of us already sent the e-filing form and some of us are not yet. Maybe they want to know what is the new relief that we have been input in our income tax for year assessment 2023. Okay. So every year is a difference. Okay. Just for this year, I will be share to you guys regarding of relief. Okay, before that, let me share the slide first. Yeah. Okay, just a moment. Okay, I will share this slide. Okay, is it clear?
Yes,
all right.
clear. And
All right.
slideshow.
Okay, so a very great morning. We start how to maximize your tax e-filing for EBE for your assessment 2023 for this year. Okay, start. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for your information, this is our Hasil social media that we already include in our media social, especially in IG, uh, Twitter. Okay, we also have YouTube and also Facebook. Okay.
Mr. Takiuddin, I think your slide is not in the slideshow mode, and
Oh, just a
yeah,
moment.
yes, thank you.
Okay.
You can actually put it in the slideshow mode. Would it be fine?
I try to make a slideshow. Just a moment. Okay,
Right.
I try again for the slideshow. Is it okay? No?
No, it's still the
No.
same.
Still the same.
Right.
If this, like this?
I think need to share again. Share again from the slideshow. Need to pick the slideshow slide to share again in Zoom.
Okay, I try once again. Just a moment, guys.
Thank you. So by the way, guys, if you want to ask any questions at the link that you joined this video in live, at the bottom there, you will see a link. It's known as Slido link. Please click on the Slido link, and then you will go into the Slido website. Over there, you are able to insert your questions and any inputs, anything that you would like to know more, you can ask over there, right? Okay. At your portal, the one that you are looking at this video right now, at the bottom there, there's a link, Slido link. Please click on it so that you can go to the Slido website. Over there, you can key in your questions. Okay, clear, yeah, guys?
If you guys have any question also, you can ask, because today my team also, we have Mr. Arif, Puan Atras, and also Miss Chow will be help me to answer the question. If you have any question regarding about the e-filing also, you can ask. So
Right.
they will help you to answer all the question.
Yeah.
Okay, just a moment. We're still working on the slide.
All right. Okay, ready.
Okay, already, yeah?
Yeah, okay, ready.
Okay,
Thank
if
you
I
so much.
change the slide, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. It's great. Okay, I will continue. For your informations, hasil social media, also we have a Twitter, we have in the Facebook and also YouTube. Okay, and we have to introduce about the EduZone. It's a gerbang pendidikan percukaian anda, also one of our latest apps in our official web in www.hasil.gov.my. So you can find all lots of information through the EduZone. Okay, right. When we pay tax, everybody will ask, what is the advantage of paying tax? This is the advantage of paying of tax. Especially we enhance for the educations, health, welfare, right, public facilities. And the most very important is for security and national defense. Okay, as a Malaysian, we live in harmony and peace. So of course, we want our country live in the a very good condition and peace harmony. So this advantage of tax, paying tax for security and national defense, and also for subsidies and development. This is the overview, right? Okay, next. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for your information, starting by last year and this year, we are already moved forward to more technologies. So we introduce you for our new system in MyTax. It's called MyTax. So you can visit our www.mytax.hasil.gov.my. So all your tax information at your fingertips, right? So you also can download from Google Play, App Store, or Apps Gallery for these apps. Okay. This is our overview, front page of MyTax. Normally, we going to send our e-filing form using the MyTax. Now, it's a very compulsory to all Malaysian. Those who are need to send the form, you need to log into the mytax.hasil.gov.my to fill up and make your own profile from MyTax. Okay, when you look into the MyTax, so what is the future inside the MyTax? This is the future inside the MyTax. From here, you can see about your e-filing status form, right? Your travel restriction check, okay, latest approved tax refund, and also amount of a taxpayer for previous years. So this all information is already exists in your own My Tax, right? Okay, let's move on to the introduction of e-filing. Okay, why e-filing is a very important? It's a responsibility of a taxpayer. Okay, this is our responsibility as a taxpayer to declare our uh, salary and also to submit the form. Okay, what is the deadline to return form submission? Okay, as we look here, 30th of April for individual who receive income from other than business source, and another on 30th of June, those you are doing business. Okay, all right, tax payment one or before deadline return form submission. Okay, so verification you can visit in our mytax.hustle.gov.my. Right. Next. Okay, this is a grace period that we going to add on more. As I say previously, previous slide is the 30th of April for submit for BE form, but we have a grace period. So last date to submit the BE form on 50th of May 2024. Okay. So I will highlight on the BE form, because most of us will be submit the BE form. So the last date for submit BE form is on 15th of May 2024. Okay. This service is able individual, company, and employer, and another to fill in, sign digitally, and submit written form via electronic. Okay. This is a type of our form. So if you can see here, our form is the first one is EBE, individual with a non-business income. Those who are doing business, for please fill up the EB, individual business income. All right. If you are non-resident, you need to fill up the EM form. Okay. This is our form that we have inside our MyTax. Okay, this is an advantage of the e-filing, especially those who are submit. Yes, we guarantee of a safe data security. Okay, you also can able to retrieve at anywhere and anytime using my tab. You can use your handphone tabs, laptops. All right. Okay, faster tax refund. Okay, we going to process more faster. Okay, so acknowledgement of a written form is will be included inside your my tax. Okay, accurate tax calculations, and the most important is a no more mail loss. Previously we submit manual form, now digital form, so it's more secure on your data. All right, let's move on to the e-filing system for 2024. Okay, this is a 4 easy step of e-filing. First, those who are first time, get your PIN number and register for digital certificate. Okay. Second, log in and complete form EBE. Third, sign the EBE digitally and submit. And fourth, successful acknowledgement receipt of EBE. We will go through all these 4 methods. Okay. For EBE year 2023, for taxpayer who died during the current year of assessment, the e-filing system cannot be used. Okay, so the representative must apply for the administration digital certificate. Okay, on behalf of person. Okay, then the representative can report the income and claim for excess repayment. All right, new e-filing user, you need to apply for PIN number, okay, and to register the digital certificate. For your information, those who are above 18 years old already have their own PIN number. Automatically, we already register for PIN number, but to submit the form, you need to register for e-filing to get your own PIN number, okay? All right, how to apply for the PIN number? We have a 2 method here. First, using a MyTax, log into the MyTax. All right, when you once you log into the MyTax, you have 2 choices. First, EKYC is mean know your customer. You need to scan your face inside the phone, And another one is a ECP55D. You need to register a digital form, all right? And you need to upload your IC front and back or passport in front page with a color. So we're going to approve and we will send you a PIN number through your email. Okay. Okay, this is a category e-filing user. As I mentioned just now, new taxpayer must apply for a PIN number to register. Okay. So for information, digital certificates, only 3 years. And after 3 years, you need to renew in the system automatically. All right. It's a very easy to renew your digital certificate. All right. Okay, next. What happened if you forgot your password? It's a very simple. You go to my tax, okay? You click your identification card number. You put in your identification number. After that, you click at the forgot password. Once you click on forgot password, it will direct you to this column. Okay, click the registered email with LHDN. All right, you must register your active email to us. So you click submit. So we're going to send you a new link through your email to create a new password for your MyTax. Okay, it's a very simple method how to create the new password. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay. This is a step for e-filing for year assessment 2023. Let's move on. Okay, as I mentioned, we go to the MyTax, log into the MyTax. After that, this is the front page. Okay, click at identification card number, put your IC number there. After that, submit, and then put your password. All right. After you put you key in your password, press login. Okay. This moment. Okay, once you log in inside your MyTax, this is your profile. Okay, you go to the Easy Hasil Services on top of the page. Okay, then you click e-filing. Okay, in the orange color, you click e-filing. All right, after you click the e-filing, it will direct you to the form. Okay, check your form is EBE, choose that one. Then year of assessment is 2023. After you done and you click that, it will direct you inside your e-filing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for your information, our e-filing, they have a 5 section inside here. First is a particular of individual. Second is other particular. Third is income. 4 is a relief, and 5 is about your summary. So we're going to go one by one each section. All right. For information, first section is a particular of individual. If you see here, this is about all your details here regard about your TIN number, your full name, your identification number, IC number, okay, and also your your birthday date and also your status. All right, status mean here, if you're single, you click single. If you are married, you put married. All right, and if you're single, divorce, or widow, just click the column there, the category. Right. Next. Okay. This particular individual information also, you need to fill up. If you're married, you need to fill up your partner particular, your wife or husband information inside here. Okay, it's a very important to key in your partner particular, right? Regarding of type assessment, if you are both working, my suggestion put separately. Okay, choose separate. All right. If one of us is only work, just click another category below. All right. Okay. Next. All right. This is about the other particulars. Okay, other particulars mean here your phone number. Make sure your handphone or your phone number is correct. All right. If you know about your employer number, E number, you can fill up here. Okay. Make sure your email is correct and also active. So we can send you any information about your tax through your email. Okay. All right. Tax bond by employer. If no, click here no. If yes, click yes. Okay. If you did any disposal assets under real property, if yes, click yes. If no, click no. Okay. And below here is a method of payment for tax refund. You need to click here, choose payment via bank account. Once you click payment via bank account, you need to put your bank particular information here. Okay, so we can transfer the refund through your account. Okay, make sure it's correct. Yeah. All right, next. This is correspondent address, your address. Okay, you need to fill up the address. Once you complete your correct address, okay, click next. Okay, this is your information about statutory income and total income. Okay, at the first line at top, let's show that statutory income from source of employment in Malaysia. That one you need to refer to your EA or EC form. All right, please ensure that you put a correct amount. For example, you have a total of income for year 2023 is 100,000 40 cent. I just put the 100,000. No need to put cent. Okay. The cent at the back, no need to fill up. Only the front, the total of your salary. Okay. Number of employment, you need to put here one. If you work with a one employment, if you work more than one, you need to add on here 2 or 3. And also your income on top, you need to plus. If you have a 2 salary, you need to plus both salary and put here. All right. Okay. If you have any source interest, discount, royalty, you need to include the total of you receive here also, the amount. Okay. So they will be calculated automatically for you for aggregate income, right? Then you need to check on your monthly tax deduction MTD. Okay, make sure that's correct with your EA form or EC form. If they have some different here on your monthly tax deduction, you can adjust it and edit. Okay, refer to your EA form. Okay, all right. Next. Okay, this is a century income from source outside Malaysia received in Malaysia. If you did any job or you receive any income from outside Malaysia and receive is under tax, so you need to fill up here. Okay, if you don't have any source of income from outside of Malaysia, just click next. Okay. This part is regarding approved donation, gift and contribution. Okay, normally if you give of money to the government, state government or local authority, okay, you will get the official letter. So you can fill up the total of amount for the donation or gift or contribution that you have been made for the last 2023. Okay. Right. Next. This one is a column of a non-employment income of a preceding year not declared. For example, you have any total of amount or salary that not have been declared yet, you can put here. All right. So you will be notify us that you have a type of income, which year of assessment, and the total of amount. All right. If you don't have, just click next. Okay. Now we move on to the relief. I hope before I explain about the relief, the previous slide also will be help you understand regarding about your own information and also your own uh, salary to ensure you put it in the correct way, right? Okay, we move on to the relief. This part, okay, as a Malaysian or those who are submit the BE form, all right, for individual and dependent relative, we already get automatically 9,000. Okay, already 9,000. We already give it to you for this relief. Okay, so don't worry, you will get this for 9,000. All right. As second, relief is a medical treatment, special needs, and care expenses for parents. Okay. Regarding this, right. Excuse me. Okay. Medical treatment, special needs, and care expenses. Okay, is up to 8,000. Okay, you can claim or you can claim the total of amount for 8,000 for our parents. Normally, parent is referred to the natural parent or foster parent, where is the individual is an adopted child, right? Expenses on medical treatment for parent also is qualified for deduction include medical care and treatment provided by the home nursing and dental treatment. Dental treatment is limited to the tooth extraction, filing, scaling, and cleaning. Okay, but for the cosmetic dental treatment are not allowed. Okay. Uh, so I hope this one is clear, right? This one for our parents. Okay. Okay. Special need if your parents needs maybe adult diapers, so you can claim the expenses that you have been used for your parent. So you can claim it. You can claim restrict up to 8,000 ringgit. Okay. Second is a basic supporting equipment for disabled, for self, spouse, child, or parents. If you bought uh, any what we call that basic supporting equipment, so you can claim here the up to 6,000 ringgit. Okay. Okay. This deduction will not be allowed if disabled individual from whom to basic supporting equipment is purchased is not registered with Department of Social Welfare as a disabled person. You need to have the approval or card or OKU card from Department of Social Welfare. All right. All right. If you are disabled individual, you can add on another 6,000 here. Okay. So add additional 6,000 for those who are disabled individual. Okay. All right. Next. Okay. We move on to education fee. Okay. Education fees for self, all right, other than degrees and master or doctor level, course of study in law, accounting, Islamic financial, technical, vocational, industry, scientific or technology. Okay, you can add on how much you have been paid for your education fees, right? If you have received any scholarship, it's not allowed, but if you pay by your own, you can put the total of amount for year 2023, how much you have been spent for your education fees, right? If you did a degree at a master or doctorate level, also any cost you also can claim, right? The total of your education fees. Okay. Okay. This the third one, cost of a study undertaken for purpose of upskilling or self enhancement. Okay, this one is restricted for 2,000. Only receive for 2,000 ringgit only. Okay, so total of this part for education fees, you can claim up to 7,000 ringgit. It depends how much you have been spent for your education fee. Okay. All right. So I move on to the medical expenses on the serious disease for self, spouse, or child. Okay. When we talk about regarding medical expenses on serious disease, it's referred to those who are on the treatment for the serious disease such as heart attack, cancer. All right. Maybe they have some Parkinson disease, renal failure. Okay. is more to those who are need medical for the long life medical. So if they or someone didn't have any medical uh, support, will be threatened their life. So this we give you uh, a relief that you can claim for the medical serious disease up to 10,000. Okay, within the 10,000, they also have another sum is medical expenses for fertility treatment for self and spouse. Those you are doing a treatment for IVF or IUI, it stands for, I think, intrauterine insemination treatment, IUI, or in vitro fertilization, IVS. So you can claim also the total of amount that you have been spent for that. Okay. You also can claim for medical expenses on vaccination for self, spouse, and child. Is to refer the vaccine like pneumococcal, human papillomavirus, HPV, influenza, rotavirus, varicella, and also COVID-19 vaccine, right? Okay. You also can claim the expenses on the complete medical examination for self, spouse, and child. If you did any full medical checkup, you also can claim on this part. Okay. If you bought any COVID-19 detection test, including purchase of self-detection kits, also you can claim. Make sure you have the receipt for this, right? If you did any mental health examination or consultation for self-sponsor, you also can claim the amount that you have been paid for this. Okay, it's mean here a part of the medical expenses relief. You can relieve how much you have been spent for your medical treatment, but please make sure you have all the receipt that have been approved by the medical person, so that this become your proof when you submit the BE form. Okay. This is our new relief expenses on child on the age of 18 years old and below in respect of assessment for purpose of diagnosis of learning disability and early intervention program or rehabilitation treatment for learning disability. This is our new relief this year in 2023. This up to 4,000 ringgit. Okay. Normally this one of those who have a child, all right, in the subcategory of autism spectrum disorder, attention deficit hyperactive, okay, global development delay, Down syndrome, or specific learning disability. If you have bring your child or your children to this program, you also can claim up to 4,000 ringgit. All right, I move on. Okay, let's move on the lifestyle. Okay, we have a two column of the lifestyle. First is expenses for the use benefit of self, spouse, and child is up to 2,500. This one, lifestyle in the first column, um, include 2,500. Okay, uh, including of purchases of books, journal, magazine, newspaper, or other similar publication. All right. If you purchase any personal computer, smartphone, or tablet, okay, and also purchase of a sport equipment, all right, and also payment of a gym membership, and also payment of a monthly bill for internet. Okay, for first lifestyle 2,500, the including about your purchase of books, any magazine, all right, and second is a purchase of personal computer, smartphone, or tablet. Third is a purchase of sport equipment, all right, and also your monthly internet, your WMP. Okay, for purchase of book, make sure you have the receipt. Any books, all right. If you buy any magazine, any newspaper, it's okay. Make sure you have a receipt for that. Purchase of the computer, smartphone or tablet also, make sure 2023 on receipt, you can claim up to 2,500 if you bought any equipment for computer and smartphone. Okay, purchase of a sport equipment, make sure the sport equipment is regarding on what sport you have been played. All right, sport attire are not allowed, sport shoes are not allowed. All right, I just want to remind you, sport attire and the sport shoe is not allowed. Include a smartwatch also are not allowed. Right, you can allow to claim for all the sport equipment only. All right, if you bought any motorized bicycle that have the engine, this is not allowed. Okay, another one is a payment of a monthly bill for internet. Okay, payment of monthly bill internet, registered under your own name for the use by your own self, spouse or child. Right, so after that we give another add-on lifestyle, 500 ringgit. Okay, this one is including purchase of a sport equipment also. Okay, payment of a rental or entry fees to any sport facilities, and also payment of registration for any sport competition. These three categories is fall under the lifestyle additional relief. It means 500 ringgit. If you join any sport competition in Malaysia that be registered with our Commissioner of Sport under a sport development, so you can claim the fees of your tournament, how much you have been paid. All right, you also can pay, you also can claim if you did any rental for sport facilities. For example, you rent, you pay for your futsal court or badminton court, so you ask for the receipt, so you can claim under additional lifestyle. Right, clear? Okay, excuse me. We move on the childcare fees to registered childcare center, kindergarten for child age 6 years old and below. This one is not more than 3,000 ringgit. Only husband or wife. Okay, only husband or wife only you can claim for this 3,000 for kindergarten. All right. You need to discuss, husband and wife need to discuss who want to claim under this child care fees. Okay, you are not allowed to claim both of you. So one husband or wife only can claim for this child care fees registration. Right, it's up to 3,000 ringgit. All right. If you did any deposit in SSPN, Scheme Simpanan Pendidikan Nasional, so it up to 8,000 ringgit. It depend on your current year. For last year 2023, how much you have been spent for your SSPN for your children, so you can claim up to 8,000 ringgit. Okay. All right. Next, this is under child relief. All right. For those who age under 18 years old, all right, you can claim up to 2,000 ringgit. Okay, 2,000 ringgit for child relief. For example, husband and wife both are working. Okay, both are subject to the tax. If they have 4 children, for example, they have 4 children. All right, if husband claim 4 children, wife cannot claim for 4 children for the children anymore. Okay, you need to discuss. So you can divide the children. If you have 4 children, you can divide 2 for husband and 2 for wife. So husband and wife need to discuss. Those who are more higher tax pay, you can claim more for child relief. Right? Okay. Child is 18 years old and above and still study. Okay. First is up to 2,000 ringgit. Okay. First column is 2,000 ringgit. Okay. Is refer Let me check first. Okay, child 18 years old and above and studying. Okay, you can claim deduction for 2,000 ringgit in the pro-university matriculasi and A level. Okay, so this is up to 2,000 ringgit for this. All right, for 8,000 is referred to the child who doing degree and above. Okay, full-time study and degree and above for 8,000. If you are send your children to overseas, study in overseas or abroad, okay, you also can claim up to 8,000 ringgit. Okay, only for degree. If your child doing diploma in overseas, you are not allowed to claim. Only for degree. Those who are study in overseas. Okay. All right. If you have a child disabled, you can claim here up to 6,000 or 14,000. Okay, it's refer 8,000 is allowed if the disabled child is unmarried, 18 years old, and satisfied the following condition. It means a full study child. You can claim up to 14,000 ringgit for disabled child. Okay. All right. Now we move on the life insurance and EPF. This one you need to refer to your EA form or EC form regarding about your EPF. The total of deduction or EPF you can refer back, and you also can edit if have any wrong number of your EPF. For this one, the first column is the life insurance premium and contribution to EPF or KWSP voluntary. If you take any, if you take any what you call life insurance premium, including yourself and your spouse only for life insurance, you can put that up to 3,000 ringgit. Okay, terhad kepada 3,000, restrict to 3,000. Okay, if you contribute to EPF compulsory or voluntary or any approved scheme, you can put the second below the second column up to 4,000 ringgit. I give the example here. All right. All right. I give the example here to make more understand. For example, in the first column, you have been paid for your life insurance for 2023 more than 3,000. Okay. You can claim there 3,000 maximum. Okay. And inside your EPF or EA form, you also have the contribution of EPF. So the total of amount, how much you have been deduct for EPF, if for more than 4,000, you can claim there 4,000. It means the both 3,000 and 4,000 is up to 7,000. Okay, clear? If you need and if you done any voluntary EPF, you need to know the total of amount, how much you have been paid for voluntary EPF. Okay, so you can claim that. Right? Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, next. All right, this is regarding for a private retirement scheme and deferred annuity. If you did any join any private retirement scheme, you can claim up to 3,000 ringgit. Make sure you have the official letter for this scheme. Okay, normally those who are claim for private retirement scheme, we will ask you about the official letter that you join this scheme, right? Okay, now you also can claim to education and medical insurance. Okay, this medical and education insurance, you can claim yourself, wife, and children. Okay, you can sum, you can total up how much you want paid for education fees insurance and also for medical insurance is up 3,000 ringgit. Okay, you can claim under education and medical insurance. All right. For the contribution to the Social Security Organization, SOCSO, this one you need to refer to your EA form. Okay, how much total of your deduction? Okay, it's up to 350. You must refer to your EA form and you can fill up there. It's more than 350 ringgit. So you can put the maximum 350 ringgit. Okay. This is our new relief also, payment of installation, rental purchases including the hire purchase of equipment or subscription for use of electric vehicle, charging facilities for own vehicles, not for business use. This for those who are using the EV car. I think EV car for electric car. Those who are having made payment for the installation, rental or purchase about the regarding of electric vehicle, you can claim it up to 2,500. Uh, I believe some of us having used this EV car. It's quite a bit expensive for installation for this electric car. So this is our new relief for 2023. All right. Next. All right. This one part of a rebate, tax deduction or tax relief. Normally this one for rebate. If you are doing any departure levy for umrah travel or any religious travel for others religious, you can claim here up to, restricts to 2 trips in a lifetime. You just put the total how many trip you have been paid for this levy for umrah or other religious travel. Okay. Then zakat and fitrah. For those who are Muslim, you have been paid for zakat and also fitrah for Hari Raya. So you can claim here. Make sure you have the official receipt from Pusat Zakat, the amount of the total you have been paid. If you are doing zakat through your salary deduction, refer to your EA form, the total of zakat for year 2023. So you can put the total of amount inside the zakat and fitrah. Okay. All right. After that, you click next. Okay, this is about under tax deduction under 1110. Right. If you have this, you have a form on the CP30A, so you can fill up here under HK6 form for interest and royalty income. Okay. Okay. Once you have done, okay, when you have done, fill up all the relief, all the information. All right. This will direct you to this summary. You can see the summary of your text here. The last page of e-filing for BE form. So this is your summary. Okay, this will be shown you how they calculate your income and total of your relief that being claimed, and also about your tax rebate, also including inside this summary. And the last part in the bottom of the summary, they will show you either you have a balance of a tax payable or you need to pay tax for us. All right. So it's depend how much your MTD, how much your relief, how much your tax calculation. So the bottom of the summary, they will show you how much refund you have been get or any tax payable. Okay. Once you are satisfied, you click next below there. After that, okay, you need to sign and submit. If you refer to the slide, you need to sign and submit. Okay. Once you click sign and submit, it will direct you to this page. You need to put your IC number and your password MyTax. Once you put there, you click sign. All right, sign. After that, when it's go to process, this acknowledgement will come out. This showed you that you have been submit your file, your EBE form. Okay, you can save this acknowledgement receipt for your own reference. This is the last stage of e-filing. Once you get the acknowledgement receipt of EBE, this means you become a great taxpayer. Then we will be keep your record here. Okay. All right. This is the overview regarding about the reliefs just now I have been mentioned to you. You can refer here. Right. Okay. I want to add on before I forget another one, relief. Okay. If you can see at the slide, see at the purchase of the breastfeeding equipment up to 1,000 ringgit. This one only for the female taxpayer. Only for the female taxpayer, you can claim this. Okay, it's allowed one in every 2 years assessment. Okay, for the male taxpayer, you are not able to claim for this. If you bought this breastfeeding equipment for your wife, you cannot claim, but it show you are very good husband. They show you that you are very good husband that you bought for your wife, but you cannot claim. Only for female taxpayer. Okay, this is a special case. This is a special relief for women, female taxpayer. Right. All right. Next, this is an overview just now for the child relief. Also, I've been mentioned to you. Okay. All right, this is a tax rate for your assessment 2023. If you can refer there, the chargeable income after deduction of the relief. So which category are you? So you can refer here. See, after deduction, so the chargeable income is refer here for the tax rate. Okay, next. All right, what happened if you're late submit form? If you are late or failure to submit form, normally will be imposed the penalty. All right, the penalty will be calculated on the total of the tax payable. If you are more 12 months, it's a 15%. It's more than 12 months to 24 months, it's a 30%. And the last is a more highest one, 45% is more than 36 months. Right? This will be imposed the penalty those who are late submit form. What happened if you are late pay tax? If you are late pay tax, 10% will be increment for the tax payable. Okay, you're supposed to pay tax before 15th of May. If you are late or after 15th of May, you will be imposed 10% increment from the tax payable. Okay, penalty will be given to you. Okay. This is a due date for income tax payment. As I mentioned just now, for business 30th of June, others is 30th April, but you can pay before 50th of May also for the grace period. What happen if you are wrongly fill in the form? Okay, now you can go through our My Tax. Okay, your own My Tax. Okay, click on the BE amendment e-application. Okay, if you have any amendment or you wrongly fill in, you can go to your own My Tax and you can click on the e-application for BE amendment. Right, so you can fill up back. Okay, attend to the branch to submitting all document, receipt, claim, and wants to be claimed. Okay. All right. If you have any planning to travel abroad, before you travel, please ensure you log in onto ssbi.eme.gov.my to check first your passport status. Okay. So please check first before you go to travel. All right. All right, please do not be victim on the scammers. I believe a lot of scammers outside there right now try to get our information, okay, about our account number. So please, if you get any call from that claim as a tax officer, if you are not recognized or suspicious, any suspicious call, call back to us. Okay, do not give any information for those you are not recognizing. Okay. Okay, that's all about my talk today regarding e-filing. If you have any queries, you can contact in Hustle Contact Center. There's a number here. All right. Um, thank you very much for joining me today for this session. I hope they will help you guys to understand about the tax relief. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad Taqiyuddin, for sharing. I can see that you shared very sincerely and very informative with all the knowledge and all the informations that are very relevant to our current situations, right, guys? So I see that there's a lot of questions in the Slido, a lot of questions, and please bear with us because when we are answering, there's a limitations on the words that we can actually type in the Slido. Okay, so there are some questions we couldn't address in the Slido. Perhaps we can actually address it here. Is that okay for maybe LHDN team? If you guys can pick some relevant questions that you would like to answer right now. Maybe if not, I would maybe give some, I will actually ask some questions on behalf.
Okay. Maybe Mr. Sam, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Okay. I pick out this one question is parents holding OKU card, okay, dementia, can claim caretaker or necessary home expenses under 8,000 parents medical expense relief. Okay, the answer is yes. Okay, please, expenses on medical treatment for parents which qualify for deduction include, okay, medical care and treatment provided by nursing home. Okay, if you hired someone, the authorized person or nurse from private hospital or private organization, so you have been paid for monthly payment fees, so make sure you have that receipt, you can claim that. Okay, all right, and please make sure carrier should not include the individual, his wife or her husband. For example, I explain here. Okay, you have a parent that paralyzed at home, but you ask your wife to take care and you pay the fee to your wife. It's not allowed. All right. Okay. It mean here is other person, yourself, children, or wife, other person than that, you can claim for the home nursing or fees for parents. Okay. Clear? Okay. All right. So we move on. Maybe another question. Okay. All right. For breastfeeding equipment, what if the tag is declaring together? Why cannot claim? Okay, as I mentioned just now, for the breastfeeding equipment, only for female taxpayer. Okay, this special relief for only female taxpayer. Okay, for husband you cannot claim. Okay, so if you are female taxpayer, if we are log into our tax, this part they will be bold. You cannot claim. Okay, as I mentioned, only for female. Okay, breastfeeding equipment, including also breast pump kit and ice pack. Okay, breast milk collection and storage equipment and also cooler set or cooler bag. They include under the breastfeed equipment. All right. Okay. Okay, I have another question here. Okay. So here. Okay, for only. Okay, most question have been answered by our team, I think. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay, I have this very interesting question. Okay, full-time work in Singapore, but stay in Malaysia, paying Singapore tax. Does this person need to submit tax in Malaysia as foreigner source income? Okay, first of all, we need to look first. Okay, where he get the salary, the total salary is from Malaysia or Singapore. Regarding to this question, if full-time work in Singapore. Okay, full-time Singapore. I'm paying Singapore tax. Okay, make sure you get any official letter from the Singapore or from your department that be working that you have been deduct tax at Singapore, right? So bring this letter to the nearest income tax office. Okay, inform the income tax officer that you say that you have been paid tax at Singapore. Okay, otherwise you will be fall under double tax deduction, right? So please you have your official letter from your HR that you have been paid tax at Singapore, right? Okay. Okay. Okay, Mr. Sam, I think that the question that have been selected for discuss today, I back to you. I give back to you, Mr. Sam.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Takiuddin. Right. So most of our questions in the Slido is already been answered by our LHDN team. However, if let's say you still have some inquiries, you would like to know further, I think we can reach out to LHDN by ourselves, right? There's a contact that we can actually call or maybe we can log into the website lhdn.gov.my so that you can actually find out more reference over there. In fact, there's a website, there's a link where we can actually download the slides and the materials as well. That is also being given in the Slido. However, if you're not sure, perhaps we can actually retype that link in the Slido so that we can all know where to find more information. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you so much. Last word from me to MFPC. Thank you for inviting us, for sharing this information. And those who are not submit yet e-filing, don't be afraid. Okay, don't afraid. Okay, if you have any query, come. We try to help you. We give a lot of more information. And last word from me. Thank you once again. Selamat Hari Raya to all the Muslim.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad Takiuddin. All right. Now let us go back to our main slide. Yeah. Mr. Takiuddin, you can actually stop sharing your screen. Yep. So that we can go back to the main slide. Yes. Okay, that's great. All right. So the first session, we are talking about e-filing, and it is perfectly done by Mr. Takiuddin. Huh? So are you having any, how to say, urge to go to the next agenda, which is the e-invoicing? Yeah. All right. So are we having a small break in between? If yes, can we call for maybe a 3 minutes break so that we can actually have a toilet break or a pee break? Okay. Let's have a 3-minute breaks. Is it okay? Just a 3-minute one. All right. Okay. Let's start counting down by now. Okay. Thank you. See you later. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the show. So you can off the timer or the sound right now. Can you maybe turn off the sound? Okay, thank you so much, Shipao. All right, so let us move on to our next speaker. So our next speaker, his name is Mr. Muhammad Shazli Mokhtar. His position is actually a Senior Revenue Executive 1 under the Tax Operation Department of IRB Malaysia. So he holds a Master of Economics in the University of Malaya, and he joined IRBM since 2012 and currently serves as a Senior Revenue Executive 1. Previously, he served at the Office of the CEO and was a member of IRBM's drafting committee that responsible in drafting policies for Malaysia's annual national budget. Yeah, that's really awesome. Huh? Okay, so Mr. Mohammad Shazli, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, Mr. Sam.
Yeah, okay, I'll pass to you then.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sam. Hello, everyone. Before that, let me share the slide first. What's the slide? Is it okay?
Yes, Shazli, can see already. Can go into the slideshow mode. Thank you.
Okay, shall I proceed? Is it okay?
It's not under the slideshow mode right now.
Let me see. On my screen, it's actually a slideshow now.
Okay, perhaps you need to maybe change the setting a bit.
Duplicate slideshow. Can I just share the screen?
Yeah, I think it will be good that you share the screen and then
Okay,
into
sure.
slideshow mode. Maybe you can end slideshow first. Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Perhaps you can stop sharing and then you share back with the screen. Yeah.
Press duplicate.
Swap. Is it okay that you swap presenter view and slideshow? Yeah, great.
Okay.
So now we can see the full screen and the slideshow.
Okay, let's wait. Okay,
All
hang
right,
on.
yeah.
Let me minimize the thumbnail first. You guys can see the mouse that I move on the screen?
Yes, can see a
Okay.
mouse.
That's great. Yes. Okay, Mr. Sam, shall I start now?
Yes, Shazli, pass to you.
Okay, Mr. Sam, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are all doing well today. It is my pleasure to have this opportunity to share information with all of you about what we are going to do, what we're going to implement on the e-invoicing in Malaysia, whether you are already in the loop on this topic or it is your first time hearing about e-invoicing. So I hope you get something out of this presentation later. Today's presentation, I will focus more on the conceptual aspect rather than the technical details of the system itself, okay? This topic will cover number one, overview of e-invoice in Malaysia, what e-invoicing is, its benefits, what the implementation plan is going forward. Number two is what system is going to be used and how it works. Yeah. Number three, we provide further guidance on specific areas of e-invoice to have everybody better understand certain treatment related to e-invoices. Number four, software development kit. If businesses would like to integrate your existing ERP system with ours, what are the development tools, guidelines, or resources related to the functionalities? And number five is where should we start e-invoicing? What is our first step to take? Okay. Now, this is the first part, which is the overview of e-invoice in Malaysia. The e-invoice journey starts as the government seeks to revitalize the economy after the COVID-19 pandemic. You guys remember that? The government decided to introduce e-invoice gradually to support the digital economy and improve the efficiency of Malaysia's tax administration. This initiative actually aligns with the 12 Malaysia plans, year 2021 until year 2025, which emphasizes strengthening digital services, infrastructure, and digitizing tax administration as a whole. In fact, sebenarnya the announcement about e-invoice implementation in Malaysia was started in year 2022 in the form of a pre-budget statement. However, LHDNM and MDEC had worked closely a few years back before the announcement to conduct studies on the feasibility and potential implementation plan for e-invoices in Malaysia. Okay. Now, during the budget 2024, the Prime Minister, the government announced that the first stage of e-invoice implementation begins this year in August 2024. It is mandatory for taxpayers with an annual turnover or revenue of more than 100 million ringgit per year. Later, the full implementation for all taxpayers will rolls out by July 2025. The reason why the government announced the implementation in phases is to allow businesses enough time to ensure a smooth and successful implementation. However, you can choose and you are advised to choose voluntarily participate in the e-invoice implementation at an earlier date, regardless of your annual turnover or annual revenue. Now, what are benefits? We understand that the transitioning to e-invoice definitely will involve significant change, not just in technical processes, but also in organizational culture and management strategies as well. When it comes to the transformation, the question here is, why should we implement e-invoice, right? This is what you will get. First, the automation of data entry in business transaction will reduce manual efforts and human errors. Second benefit you will get, definitely tax return filing become more easier when the system integrates seamlessly for efficient and accurate tax reporting, meaning your ERP system connects with our My Invoice system. And moving forward, the data, we are planning that the data will be extracted and pre-filled into the taxpayer's income tax return form when the system is mature enough. The third benefits will be for large businesses. E-invoices can save costs and money in operations. People say every minute, right? People say every minute counts as money. And the last, for micro, small and medium enterprises or MSMEs, you can align your financial reporting and processes with industry standard and mitigate potential disruption as well. So these four ultimate benefit helps improve your business operation as a whole. Okay. So when it comes to the benefit to the taxpayer, there is a question: why did the government start to initiate this initiative, and what are the benefits to the government, right? So well, the government could address tax gap issues. Tax gap issues means the difference between the actual and potential tax to be collected. And then the second benefit the government will get to ensure the tax transparency at every level and increase productivity through digitalization and automation. And then compliant by design, or designing compliance, is one of the major aspects that we are looking for in IRB, where compliant by design or designing compliant into the system is our main priority moving forward. It means that we incorporate rules and standards into the system's design to ensure everybody or every taxpayer meets legal requirement and follow tax policy from the start. Okay, dari mula kita dah sediakan platform where you can comply, and at the end you comply as a whole. Okay. Now, we have been talking about e-invoicing, e-invoice from the beginning. What are they? Ini soalan yang ramai tanya. Most of you guys may wondering what is e-invoice. There are 4 types of e-invoice transactions in the business environment to determine income and expenses. Number 1 is invoice. Number 2 is credit note, debit note, and refund note. Basically, when it comes to e-invoice is like a digital version of all of these 4. Okay, digital version of all of these 4, a transaction between a seller and a buyer. E-invoice contains the same essential information as a traditional document that the current business practice, such as detail of the seller, details of the buyer, item and description, quantity, price, total amount, and so on. So in other words, e-invoice is a digital replacement for the paper or electronic documents currently used in daily business operation. Okay. In fact, e-invoice is a file where you created in the format specified by LHDNM, meaning XML or JSON formats only. Okay, 2 format only, which is we are using XML or JSON format. It can be automatically processed by a relevant system. Just to note that format like PDF, okay, format like PDF, JPEG, DOC, and others won't be recognized as e-invoice. The only e-invoice format is using XML or JSON format only. The important thing is that the validation process is done by LHDNM in real time or near real time, and the data will be protected against data tampering or fraud. Okay. Now, e-invoice basically works for different kind of business transactions, such as business sales to other businesses. Second is business sell to consumers, or B2C, and the third one even deal with a government transaction. So if you are doing business in Malaysia, e-invoice is something that you will need to use because it applies to all taxpayers that undertaking commercial activities in Malaysia. For B2G, hang on, where's my cursor? Sorry. Okay, for B2G and B2B, the process flow will be the same. And then for B2C and certain B2B, there are 2 possible scenarios. The first scenario will be when an e-invoice is issued to a buyer or a consumer upon request. They're not e-invoice. In this case, the seller needs to obtain the buyer's information or buyer's detail for the issuance of the invoice before the seller can issue an invoice. The second scenario where the buyer does not require an invoice. Dia tak nak, buyer dah beli, then they say, no, I don't want e-invoice. So what happened next is the seller will need to issue a normal receipt to the buyer, same as the current business practice. This receipt does not need to be submitted to LHDNM for validation since it is not considered as e-invoice. The seller will be allowed to aggregate transactions on a monthly basis and submit a consolidated e-invoice to LHDNM within 7 calendar days after the month end. Okay, that's very clear. Then there is a question, when do we need to issue an invoice, right? Why do we need an invoice and why do we need to issue an invoice? The first one will be proof of income. That's very clear in under the Income Tax Act or other tax law. Okay, proof of income. As a seller, you need to issue an e-invoice whenever a sale or other transaction occurs to recognize the income of the seller itself. Second is proof of expenses. Okay, so this covers purchases made or other spending by yourself as evidence of expenses. Okay, there are two main reasons why do we need an invoice as a proof of income and proof of expense. Okay, this is the revised e-invoice implementation timeline. The pilot phase of e-invoice implementation will start in May 2024. This next month, it plays a crucial role in testing and validating the visibility, functionality, and readiness of the MyInza system itself on a small scale before we go live broader. So this pilot project basically initiated to test the e-invoice system with voluntary taxpayers or businesses that participate in this program. So it allows for real data testing on the system, as well as in a controlled environment to identify any issues, gather feedback, and make necessary adjustment before the full implementation later on. Then a common question we received during the engagement session with the pilot company is about the system readiness since the implementation date is just around the corner. So a few pilot companies have already started developing their own system, internal system to integrate with our system, MyInvoice system. So these pilot companies will be assigned dedicated officers from LHDNM, my team, e-invoice committee to assist them from time to time, providing guidance on processes, integration, and testing through touchpoint meetings. In return, LHDNM requires feedback from pilot companies to ensure the readiness of the system before wider deployment in July 2025. In phase 1, August 1st of August 2024. Phase 1 is scheduled for August 2024, and it is mandatory for taxpayers with annual turnover or revenue exceeding 100 million ringgit per year, followed by phase 2. Phase 2 in January 2025 for taxpayers with an annual turnover or revenue between 25,000 and 100 million ringgit. And then phase 3, the rest for all other taxpayers will come on board in July 2025. Once again, we encourage businesses to voluntarily participate in the e-invoice implementation at earlier date, regardless of your annual income or annual turnover. Okay. Next, annual turnover. The annual turnover or revenue for the implementation of e-invoice will be determined based on the annual turnover or revenue stated in the statement of comprehensive income in the audited financial statement for the financial year 2022. However, for taxpayers who are not required to submit audited financial statement, the mandatory criteria are determined based on the annual revenue reported in the tax return for year of assessment 2022 also. In the event of a change of accounting period, bila berubah tahun akhir perakaunan, in the event of change of accounting period for the financial year 2022, the taxpayers' turnover or revenue will be prorated to a 12-month period for the purpose of determining the e-invoice implementation date. Again, just a heads up, for the purpose of determination, the annual turnover or revenue will be based on the audited financial statement or tax return of year 2022. Once we have got your e-invoice implementation timeline set, any changes to annual turnover or revenue is in subsequent years won't affect your obligation to implement e-invoice based on the stated timeline. Okay. Next. This slide shows the transmission mechanism. The e-invoice process involves creating file into specific format and undergoing real-time or near real-time verification or validation through the continuous transaction control clearance model, CTC models. So the main consideration here in choosing this model is because is to provide flexibility to taxpayers in selecting the e-invoice transmission mechanism to LHDNM. This CTC model allows taxpayers to independently decide whether you want to submit e-invoices directly from your ERP system to LHDNM or involve third-party service provider or middleware. In order to assist taxpayers, LHDNM, we have provided 2 e-invoice submission mechanisms for verification purposes. It is necessary for taxpayers to conduct an internal assessment within yourself to determine the appropriate mechanism to implement this e-invoice based on your business needs. Number 1, the first one is through my invoice portal, which is developed and hosted by LHDNM for sending e-invoices for verification purposes. This portal is accessible to taxpayers, providing the necessary functions for issuing, sending, reviewing, cancelling, or rejecting invoices. Additionally, users can view and search for invoice transactions that have been received by LHDNM. The second mechanism is known as API mechanism, application programming interface, involve a set of program codes that enable taxpayers to send e-invoice through your ERP system to LHDNM. So this method requires definitely initial investment in technology and adaptation to the existing system. Then API connection can be established directly to LHDNM or through third-party service provider. Okay, you can take your some time to choose whether you want to use my invoice portal directly or you want to integrate with the LHDNM system through your ERP system itself. Then please take note that LHDNM does not require service providers or technologies providers to be certified. It is crucial for all of them to meet and pass the testing environment standards. Since we do not provide certification, you or your business responsible for evaluating and choosing middleware providers based on their reputation. So we will provide the environment for third parties to build, test their solution, and ensure compliance with our requirement. Okay. Now, banyak kan? Okay. To issue an invoice for verification or validation, you will need to include 55 data fields and submit them to LHDNM for validation. At this juncture, overall, the field consists of 37 mandatory fields and 18 optional requirements. So these fields are grouped into 8 categories. We can see from here, address, business details, contact number, invoice details, parties, party details, payment info, product and services. The item in light yellow here is an optional field. The rest are mandatory, okay? The rest are mandatory. Now, in addition, if your business is involved in specific activities such as importing or exporting goods or services, you will need to submit an annex with 12 additional fields to LHDM as part of the e-invoice process. Okay, and again, the one that in light yellow is optional fields. Now we move to the second part, which is the My Invoice system and its mechanism. So this slide provides an overview of the e-invoice workflow in Malaysia, what is going to be, covering the process from the point of sale, from the moment a sale is made or a transaction is undertaken. An invoice is issued by the supplier. Through My Invoice portal or API, the workflow continues to include the storage of validated e-invoice on the LHDNM database. So this functionality enables taxpayer to access and review their respective historical e-invoices, providing a very comprehensive perspective on transaction over the time. As I mentioned earlier, LHDNM has introduced two e-invoice submission mechanisms for verification purposes. The first one is through the My Invoice portal itself, a portal that hosted and developed by LHDNM for free, meaning free to access. The second is the method involved an API mechanism that allows you to transmit e-invoices directly from your ERP system to LHDNM. These two options offer flexibility for businesses, accommodating various preferences and technical capabilities in submitting your e-invoice for validation. This slide provides detailed information for those who prefers to submit e-invoices using the API mechanism. You have the flexibility to transmit directly from your ERP system or through service provider. Whether it is through PayPal access points or non-PayPal access point service providers, this workflow will guide you through the available options, ensuring that seamless and efficient e-invoice submission process. And note that MDEC is the PayPal authority for Malaysia. So they play a role in accrediting Malaysia's PayPal service providers and PayPal ready solution providers. If you are looking for using PayPal as a service provider, you can refer to MDEC because they are our PayPal authority for Malaysia. Now, I will explain the details and briefly outline each step further to provide a comprehensive understanding of the process. If you choose the option A, My Invoice portal, you have the option to create individual e-invoices by completing all the required fields and submitting them to LHDNM for validation. Alternatively, you can generate batches of e-invoices by uploading a file to My Invoice portal containing the necessary invoice information required by LHDNM. If you are If you are using option B, API mechanism, invoice is created following a specified structure in XML or JSON format. Then you can submit to LHDNM for validation. Step number 2, validation. For My Invoice portal, if you are using option 1, after LHDNM validate the invoice, LHDNM will send you a validated e-invoice containing the unique identifier number, UIN, unique identifier number, validation date and time, and a validation link. If the invoice is returned unvalidated, you will see an error message. Simply correct the error and resubmit for validation once the issue is fixed. When you are using option B, API mechanism or API integration, you will receive a response that includes the unique identifier number, UIN, validation date and time, and a validation link, same like when you are using My Invoice Portal. So this response is delivered via API. If errors are detected during validation, and API errors response will display, and API response will provided upon successful validation finally. So now the question here is why there is an LHDNM unique identifier number during the validation process? Well, the UIN or unique identifier number will be used, allows LHDN to easily track and trace invoices throughout their life cycle, verify their authenticity, and minimize instances of tampering with the invoice. In short, to avoid fraud. Now we are moving to step 3, notification for invoice for my invoice portal user. Once the e-invoice has been validated, LHDNM will notify both seller and buyer via the My Invoice portal. Email will be sent for this notification, which include details of details about invoice clearance and buyer rejection request. If you are using API integration, there will be an API that allows taxpayer to receive notifications from LHDNM directly or through a technology provider. Then the invoice, the My Invoice system incorporates a notification API that automatically triggers notification to both supplier and buyer upon the validation of the e-invoice. So both seller and buyer definitely will get notification once the invoice has been validated by LHDNM. Now, step number 4, sharing of e-invoice. After validation process, the seller or buyer must share the validated e-invoice with the buyer. The visual representation of the e-invoice you created on the My Invoice portal must have a QR code. So QR code can be used to check the existence and status of the invoice through My Invoice portal itself. Now, moving towards after LHDNM validates the e-invoice, the seller or buyer can cancel or reject the e-invoice within a specific time frame. On the buyer side, if there are errors in the e-invoice, the buyer can request a rejection within 72 hours from the validation time. The rejection request should include the reason or justification, and a notification will be sent later to the supplier. Similarly, if the supplier identifies errors or mistake in the e-invoice, they can cancel that invoice within 72 hours from the validation time. The cancellation request must specify the justification, and notification will be sent to the buyer also. If the invoice is not rejected or cancelled within the specified time frame, which is within 72 hours, it will be automatically accepted and remain valid. Any subsequent adjustment need to be made by issuing a new e-invoice, such as credit note, debit note, or refund note. Storing invoice by LHDNM. All validated e-invoice will be stored in LHDNM database. Taxpayers are advised to keep sufficient records and documentation related to each transaction. Under the current existing Section 82 of the Income Tax Act 1967, taxpayers are required to keep sufficient records relating to their businesses or operation income for at least 7 years from the end of the year of assessment. We at IRB believe that this record keeping duration will be reviewed, inshallah will be shortened in the future when e-invoice are fully executed and the system is mature enough. Step number 9, about reporting. The question here, is it possible for suppliers or buyer to request and retrieve e-invoices? Yes. The answer is yes. Both seller and buyer can request and retrieve invoices through My Invoice Portal or API integration. The My Invoice Portal displays definitely key invoice detail, including invoice date, amount, status, and other relevant information submitted to us. So you can track it back from our My Invoice Portal, but the format will be in XML or JSON, either one by one or in package. The second format is in metadata, CSV report, grid, and PDF file. Now, we move to the third part, which is the e-invoice specific guideline. I hope you are still with me because this topic is more deeper compared to previous slide. We will explore the specific guidelines released by LHDNM on 9 February 2024 this year. This specific guideline is designed to provide guidance on the issuance of e-invoices in 13 key focus areas as shown in the slide. We hope that the information we shared will help you better understand specific e-invoice treatments and ultimately enables you to successfully implement e-invoice. So this guideline definitely is not exhaustive, and we will update this guideline from time to time. After implementing e-invoice, seller or supplier must issue e-invoice for all transactions. However, some buyers such as consumers and certain business may not need an e-invoice as proof of expense. Katakan buyer wants to buy something and they manage to get the item, and then the seller asks the buyer, you want the invoice or not? And then the buyer say, yes, I want the invoice. So these are the flow that the invoice will be. So this overview illustrates the process of issuing invoice for buyers for the buyer transaction. There are two scenarios in the slide. Scenario number one, when buyer requests an e-invoice, then the seller provide the necessary facilities to issue e-invoice based on the transaction. The seller completes the required information following the guidelines issued by LHDN, issue the e-invoice and submit to LHDN for validation. Upon receiving the validated e-invoice, the supplier forward the validated e-invoice to the buyer. Scenario number two, if the buyer does not require an e-invoice, the supplier can issue a consolidated e-invoice on a monthly basis and submit them to LHDNN for validation within 7 calendar days after the month end. However, there are activities or transactions for which a consolidated e-invoice would not be allowed. Therefore, e-invoice must be issued for each transaction. I will explain further on the next slide. If you have multiple MSIC code for businesses, definitely you have MSIC codes. You are required to include the MSIC code that is relevant to the transaction. Any invoice issued for a transaction should be related to that particular business activity. In short, one MSIC code per invoice. This flow demonstrates that when the supplier asks the buyer if they want an invoice and the buyer responds, yes, I want invoice, to simplify the invoice issuance from the process for the seller, Malaysian individual buyers can choose to provide either their tax identification number or MyCard number, or both to the supplier. If they provide only one, the seller can use a general number in the e-invoice to replace one of them. For non-Malaysian individual buyers, they can choose to provide either their tax identification number or both TIN or N passport number. In the event that they do not have a TIN, then the seller can use the general TIN to issue an e-invoice. So the general TIN, you can get that information in our specific guideline. Now we continue with the same diagram, but the buyer does not require an invoice. Just now we are looking for the buyer require invoice. So this slide will show that the buyer does not require an invoice. When the buyer does not require an e-invoice, the seller or supplier will issue a normal receipt to the buyer, same as current business practice. However, such receipt would not be required to be submitted to LHDNM for validation process, as that document is not an e-invoice. So the seller will be allowed to aggregate transaction with buyers who do not require an e-invoice on a monthly basis and submit a consolidated e-invoice to LHDNM within 7 calendar days after the end of the month. In any event, if suddenly the buyer changes his mind, tiba-tiba buyer asalnya dia kata tak nak, then suddenly dia tiba dia kata nak kan. If suddenly the buyer changes his mind and require an invoice after receiving a receipt from the seller, they can request one within one invoice within the month of the transaction. So this allow the seller to establish cut-off time for aggregating receipt into the consolidated invoice. So bulan yang sama juga, buyers are encouraged to request e-invoice as soon as possible after receiving the receipt to ensure that the request will be processed by the seller in a timely manner. For consolidated e-invoice, LHDNM allows sellers to choose one or combination of presenting the summary of each receipt as separate line items in the consolidated e-invoice, or presenting the list of receipt with continual receipt numbers as line item, or submitting a consolidated e-invoice for each branch or location. You can consolidate e-invoice based on the series of receipt numbers. If there is a break in the receipt number sequence, then the next series should begin on the following line. You still need to adhere to the 5 megabyte maximum size limit. If it exceeds this limit, you will have to split into multiple e-invoice document. You cannot include the same invoice document in a single submission. Instead, submit multiple consolidated e-invoice. You can split the invoice into smaller segment to meet the size requirement. Just to note that please bear in mind that the consolidation does not apply to self-bill e-invoice. Yeah. So these industries or activities where an invoice is required for all transaction. So no consolidated e-invoice is not allowed for this industry. In other words, taxpayers or sellers in this category will need to obtain the buyer's details for each e-invoice issuance, and will not be allowed to issue consolidated e-invoice. Currently, the industry and activities are requiring e-invoice for each transaction is automotive, aviation, luxury goods and jewelry. However, luxury goods and jewelry, we're still looking for a review this part, and we put on hold on this. The fourth one is construction. Fifth, wholesalers and retailers of construction materials, license, betting and gaming, payment to agent, dealers and distributors. We understand that the potential challenges in issuing e-invoices to individual buyers, either Malaysian or non-Malaysian, for these 7 activities is quite challenging. In this regard, we provide a concession to individual buyers, allowing them to use their TIN number, tax identification number, my card number or passport number as mentioned in the previous slide as a concession. Okay. We believe that certain businesses, industries or sectors currently issue statements or bills to record a multiple transaction over a set period of time, like monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or annually, rather than issuing individual invoices for each transaction, kan? So to name a few, there are a few digital electronic payments, such as financial services, including banking and financial institution, healthcare, insurance, stockbroking, telecommunication, and others. So the list is not limited. Then, to facilitate the adoption of e-invoices in line with a current business practice, LHDN allows sellers to issue e-invoices for validation purposes using their current methods for issuing statement or bill. Once the LHDNM validates the e-invoice, the seller can use the statement or bill as a visual representation, including the QR code for the buyer. The frequency of e-invoices depends on how often the seller sends out invoices or statements. If the buyer does not need an invoice, the seller can issue a standard statement or bill. Later, the seller needs to provide a consolidated invoice for validation to LHDNM. Now, we are moving to disbursement and reimbursement. Disbursement refer to expenses paid by the buyer to a third party on behalf of the buyer. So these expenses cover costs related to services provided or goods sold by the seller, where reimbursement are expenses incurred by the seller in the course of rendering services or sale of goods to the buyer. So the buyer later reimburse these expenses, which can include airfare, travel, accommodation, telephone, and any charges incurred. Currently, sellers are required to include reimbursement and disbursement information in their e-invoices to buyer. For scenario 1, for first scenario, supplier 1 issues an e-invoice to the buyer for the sale of goods or services provided. Payment is made by the supplier to a third party to supplier 1 based on the agreement between the buyer and supplier 2. Then supplier 1 issues an e-invoice to the buyer for the services or goods, while supplier 2 separately issues an invoice to the buyer for specific items such as service charges. The e-invoice issued by supplier 1 does not need to be included in the e-invoice issued by supplier 2 to the buyer. To verify payment, supplier 2 only needs to provide proof of payment made to the supplier 1. Let's go back to supplier 2. Supplier 1 issues an e-invoice to supplier 2 as a third party for a sale of goods and services provided to the buyer. Supplier 2 then pays supplier 1 as agreed with the buyer. Afterwards, supplier 2 issues an invoice to the buyer, including the amount paid on behalf of the buyer. Then the invoice from supplier 2 contains information on the sale of goods or services and includes the 2 items, service charge and reimbursement or disbursement. Okay. So now, employee under an employment contract or contract of service may receive benefits from their employer. So this benefit can be in cash or in kind, and that will be provided by employer or third parties as a result of the employment, right? Such as liability bills, club or gym membership, professional subscription or allowances. Currently, employees must submit their expense claims to their employers. If employees are permitted to claim these expenses, they need to provide proof as proof of authenticity with supporting document like bills, payment receipts, invoices, statement or payment slip, and etc. So these claim expenses become the employee's expenses and reported for tax purposes. Then, upon implementing the invoices, employees must request the e-invoices to be issued to their employer for proof of expense. We understand that the potential challenges in issuing e-invoices under the employee's name, as the buyer. Therefore, we offer concession for this scenario. Businesses can use e-invoice issued in the employee's name or existing supporting documents from the supplier to support a particular transaction as proof of expense for the tax purposes. The second concession is if payments for benefits are made to foreign suppliers, either the employer or the employee needs to issue a safe bill invoice. LHDNM definitely will accept receipts, bills, or invoices from foreign supplier as proof of expenses as well. So this concession will apply only if the perquisites and benefits are clearly stated in the employee's policy, in your policy as an employer. So now, treatment, when a sale or transaction is completed, the supplier issues e-invoice to acknowledge their income as proof of income and document purchases made by the buyer as proof of expense. However, there are situations where a third party, not the supplier, is permitted to issue a safe bill e-invoice. Safe bill e-invoice allowed for these 8 transactions listed here on the slide. If a buyer needs to issue a safe bill e-invoice, they will act as a supplier, creating and submitting the e-invoice to LHDNM for validation. Once validated, the buyer can use that invoice as proof of expense for tax purposes. In this case, the other party does not need to issue an e-invoice for that transaction. Only one party saja. Okay. We understand that the role of agents and dealers or distributors is common in business supply chain, right? So it is really been happening for years, and these third-party intermediaries, agent, dealers, distributors definitely earn commissions on the sale of product or provision of services to consumers. When a purchaser buys goods or services from a seller through an agent, dealer, or distributor, the seller must issue an e-invoice to record the transaction. If the purchaser does not require e-invoice, the seller provides a normal receipt to the purchaser. Okay, then the seller must issue a consolidated e-invoice combining all receipts from the previous month for proof of income within 7 days after the month ends. Then the agent, dealer, or distributor is entitled to receive payment or other incentive, either monetary or otherwise, from the seller, such as commission. The seller will issue a safe bill. So the seller will issue a safe bill e-invoice to the agent, dealer, and distributor. So the seller will issue safe bill e-invoice to them, agent, dealer, distributor, recording the amount of commission earned by them as proof of income and proof of expense for the seller. So the process of issuing an e-invoice and safe bill e-invoice follows the detail mentioned in my previous slide. So now cross-border transaction definitely include import and export activities. Import where goods sold or services rendered by a foreign seller as a supplier to a Malaysian purchaser as a buyer, and export goods sold or services rendered by a Malaysian seller as a supplier to a foreign purchaser. So for import transaction, currently when foreign seller conducts a transaction with Malaysian purchaser, kan, katakan kita import barang from overseas, so the foreign seller will issue an invoice, bill or receipt to record the sales of good or provision of services. So this document comply with the e-invoicing requirement of the foreign country itself. So since the foreign seller is not required to implement Malaysia's e-invoice system, so the Malaysian purchaser must issue a safe bill e-invoice to document the expense for tax purposes. So this self-bill e-invoice serves as proof of expense for the Malaysian purchaser, and you no need to share to the foreign seller. For Malaysian purchaser, can find the detail of the foreign seller on the invoice, receipt or bill provided by the foreign seller, or they can request the necessary details directly from them. If certain required details are not available, so you can you should just put not available and A in the self-bill e-invoice. Additionally, the Malaysian purchaser must include the service tax amount in the self-bill e-invoice. So when should self-bill e-invoice be issued? Okay, for the importation of goods, the purchaser, Malaysian purchaser, should issue a self-bill e-invoice after obtaining custom clearance. Sorry. However, for the importation of services, self-bill e-invoice should be issued either after payment by the Malaysian purchaser or upon receipt of invoice from the foreign supplier, whichever comes first. Okay. However, for export transaction, Malaysian sellers must issue an e-invoice to record income from foreign purchases, right? So sellers should fill in all required fields, and if certain details are not available, so you should put input an A not available in the e-invoice. After validation, LHDM notifies the Malaysian seller. The validated e-invoice serve as proof of income. So then sellers share a copy of the validated invoice with the foreign purchasers for record keeping. If there are any errors, sellers can make adjustment by issuing credit note, debit note, or refund note e-invoices. So now we are moving to the profit distribution. Dividend vouchers or warrants are commonly used by companies when distributing profits to their stakeholders. So it serves as proof of the dividend received by the shareholders in the form of dividend, where the implementation of e-invoice in Malaysia, certain taxpayers, including those not eligible for tax deduction under Section 108 of the Income Tax Act 1967, and those listed on Bursa Malaysia. So these two are exempted from issuing self-bill e-invoice for dividend distribution. Consequently, their shareholder do not need to provide an e-invoice as proof of income. So this exemption will be periodically reviewed and updated by us. Essentially, taxpayers benefiting from this exemption can maintain their current profit distribution procedures. However, taxpayer not covered by this exemption must issue self-bill e-invoice to record the expense. Similarly, this self-bill e-invoice will serve as proof of income for the recipient of the profit distribution. For example, the supplier, for any foreign profits or dividend received in Malaysia, the recipient is required to issue e-invoice to document as a proof of income for tax purposes. Now we are moving to currency exchange rate. This currency exchange rate in the e-invoice data field can be used for transaction in foreign currency as well, which are currencies other than Malaysian ringgit. If necessary, the currency exchange rate should be determined by the supplier itself. The supplier or your business must comply to any legal or tax requirement regarding currency exchange rate imposed by the relevant authorities such as Royal Malaysian Custom Department or LHDN and etc. if applicable. If there are no legal or tax requirements regarding currency exchange rates, the supplier may use the current exchange rate based on your internal policy itself. So the supplier can choose one option for issuing invoices. Either supplier may submit the e-invoice in the relevant foreign currency and the applicable currency exchange rate without the RM equivalent, or supplier can submit the e-invoice in the relevant foreign currency and the applicable RM equivalents without the currency exchange rate, or the supplier can submit the e-invoice in the relevant foreign currency, the applicable RM equivalent, along with the currency exchange rate. You can choose one of these three. Okay. So now we are moving to the very complex flow in which it is e-commerce transaction. E-commerce transaction refers to buying or selling goods or services online. While the goods or services ordered online, the payment and delivery do not necessarily happen online, right? So this transaction involve different parties like enterprises, household, individuals, government, and other organization, whether it is public or private. So referring to the transaction flow here on the slide, e-commerce transaction include different parties like buyers, seller, merchants, service providers, and the e-commerce platform itself. Each party has a specific role in the process, and e-invoicing accurately document this interaction. Okay, please allow me to share one of these three issuance process. For issuance of invoice from e-commerce platform provider to purchaser. Currently, e-commerce platform providers would issue an invoice, bill or receipt to the purchaser to record the transaction complete on the e-commerce platform. With the implementation of e-invoice, e-commerce platform providers should issue an e-invoice to the purchaser upon request or a receipt if the purchaser does not need an invoice. If the purchaser does if the purchaser does not request for an invoice, so e-commerce platform providers are allowed to combine all transactions with such purchases on a monthly basis and provide consolidated invoice to LHDNM within 7 calendar days from the end of the month. So then merchant or service providers are not required to provide an e-invoice or receipt to the purchasers for goods sold or services performed. All right. So that was the issuance of e-invoices from e-commerce platform provider to purchaser. So the rest too you can read by your own. So now when we talk about e-invoice, so don't worry, one of the primary priorities emphasized by LHDM is ensuring the security of data and system as a whole. To achieve this goal, LHDM definitely will ensure that the My Invoice system complies with the and certified under various requirements and practices to safeguard the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data and transaction within the system itself. So this certification ensures that the system meets rigorous requirements for information security and business continuity, giving users confidence in its reliability and security measures. Okay. Okay, now we move to the fourth part, which is the software development kits, SDK. So the SDK is part of the LHDNM My Invoice system, consisting of tools, libraries, and resources. So the purpose of SDK is to help businesses integrate your current system with the My Invoice system through the API, application programming interface. So the SDK was published on 9 February 2024. Essentially, this SDK guides taxpayer on how to integrate APIs with LHDNM. Okay. So this slide shows the different types of API integration with ERP system. The SDK provides various functionalities and APIs that enable businesses to establish connection between your software applications and My Invoice system. So this integration facilitates seamless exchange of data and communication, specifically tailored for e-invoicing purposes only. By utilizing the SDK, businesses can streamline their e-invoice process, ensuring efficient and effective management of transaction within the My Invoice system. In fact, it also provides development guidelines, detailed best practices, coding standards, and technical specification for integrating with the My Invoice system, ensuring compatibility and efficiency in system integration. Okay. So Alhamdulillah, now we move to the final part about e-invoice support channel. So these are tax incentives announced in the budget 2024 last year, aimed to promote digitalization and e-invoice implementation. Let's take a look on number one, where it is a capital allowance, accelerated capital allowance. To support competitiveness, the government proposed to shorten the capital allowance claim period for ICT equipment purchases, installation, computer software packages, consulting fees, licensing, and incidental fees related to software development from 4 years to 3 years, starting from year of assessment 2024. Second incentive will be tax deduction for ESG expenses. What is ESG? ESG is environmental, social, and governance, ESG. So this incentive basically micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, can claim tax deduction for expenses related to the ESG preservation up to 50,000 ringgit per year. So this e-invoicing is part of the ESG initiative because it involves digitalization. So this incentive applies from year 2024 to 2027, right? So now, ladies and gentlemen, to assist all of you in adopting e-invoices successfully, LHDM has provided 4 key avenues of support. Firstly, there is the e-invoice microsite, serving as the primary gateway for obtaining essential updates on the e-invoice system. Here you can access the latest information on implementation timelines, technical specification, and compliance requirements. LHDN issued e-invoice general guidelines version 2.2 on 9 February 2024, replacing version 2.1. So several key changes have been made to this guideline. Then e-invoice specific guideline version 2.0 was updated on the same date, 9 February 2024. So this update offers more guidance on specific areas of e-invoices, so you can better understand how they work and their related treatments. So both e-invoice guideline and the specific guideline will undergo periodic updates with the latest version scheduled to be published later this month, inshallah. So lastly, the software development kit SDK was published on 9 February 2024 also. So this SDK is designed to assist businesses in integrating APIs with LHDNM, providing guidance and support in this aspect. We have engaged with several industry for discussion and provided industry-specific FAQs. So these FAQs are documented, tailored to address the unique challenges, concerns, and requirements of different sectors or industries regarding the e-invoice. But by providing this FAQ, specific FAQ, LHDN can support businesses in different sectors in understanding and navigating the complexities of e-invoice. Feel free to access this industry specific FAQs through our e-invoice microsite on the LHDN official portal whenever you need. LHDN is currently in the process of preparing updates for other industries, and this will inshallah will be published as soon as they are ready. However, industry can also share your operational processes with LHDN for our review and feedback. So this approach, I believe, helps us from understand each other better and benefits both businesses and LHDNM in the end. So now, Alhamdulillah, if you have any question or opinion, we would love to hear from you. Please send them to the stated email address shown in the slide, myinvoice@hasil.gov.my for general queries. For system-wise, SDK-related queries, just email to sdk.myinvoice@hasil.gov.my. So I hope for a positive response and a successful adoption of e-invoice. Thank you. I will now hand back to Mr. Sam for the next agenda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sazli. Wow, very wonderful sharing. Really, really impressed with your detailed explanations in all the mechanism of e-invoices, because it is something very new for all of us, right, guys? So any questions that you guys wanted to ask, you can always again go to the Slido, which is available at the bottom of your video. There's a link, click on it, then you can ask questions over there. So far, is there any questions that you guys encounter from the floor? Because we didn't see much.
Yes, I do. I can see a lot of questions has been
really?
posted
Okay.
by the participant. Can I just randomly pick one of those
Yes, please, please.
and answer that question accordingly?
Please. Yep, thank you.
Okay. Okay, this question do not have number, but I randomly share one question from anonymous. If unable real-time submit e-invoice to IRB, can we submit weekly? So the answer, there is no specific timing of issuance for e-invoice other than where consolidated e-invoice, foreign income and importation of goods or services are applicable. So near real-time is referring to the validation of e-invoice upon submission to IRBM. So upon submission to IRBM, validation will be done in near real-time. Okay, so that's the question from anonymous. And then I can see from donation received or pay to, is it required to set bill? Yes, party receiving the donation is required to issue e-invoice to the donor. All right. And then next question from anonymous also. Wah, jarang guna nama, guna anonymous semua. Any extension of the e-invoicing implementation date? Tak ada. No extension at this juncture. Timeline as per what I have stated in the slide. Any issues to approach LHDN by formally write in with detailed justification lah. So if you would like to apply for any anything about e-invoice, just let us know in written. All right. So next question, maybe I just answer 5 questions. No, I just answered 3. So 2 remaining. Then how long for LHDNM takes to validate an e-invoice? This one I've answered already. Validation is near real time. So this function is already stated, mentioned in the guideline also. And then question from anonymous also, if e-invoicing will make compulsory for all, how much we can get to buy the software? Basically, taxpayer can select the most suitable mechanism to transmit e-invoice to LHDNM based on their specific needs or business requirement. So the LHDN only provide 2 mechanism channel for issuance of e-invoice, namely API mechanism and my invoice portal itself. My invoice portal is hosted and developed by LHDNM, so all taxpayers can access the My Invoice portal free without any charges. The only thing is using your My Tax ID. All right. So I think, Mr. Sam, I have answered a few questions from the floor. So I hand back to you.
Thank you so much, Sazli. Wow, great. So basically, e-invoice is a digital representation of a transaction between a supplier and a buyer. Okay, so now that we are moving digitalized, so it is always good to implement this. The benefit includes reduce manual efforts and human errors. Number one, facilitate efficient tax filing. That is number two. Streamline operation efficiency. Number three. And number four, digitalize tax of financial reporting. Okay, so these are the four major benefits when we go into e-invoicing. So we can always find out more in the website hasil.gov.my, where you can actually see e-invoicing. So you click on it and you can see all the relevant information and all the Q&A, frequent asked question as well. So because today is a very compact sharing by Mr. Shazli, so because we may need more additional info, right? Because something new for us. So feel free to go there, check it out yourself. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, just contact our LHDNM officer. We are more than happy to help all of us, right? So I think the implementation timeline, maybe I can just re-emphasize again. Okay, August 2024 is actually for annual turnover of revenue more than 100 million, correct or not, Mr. Shazli? Yeah. And then January 2025, annual turnover of revenue between 25 million to 100 million. Okay.
Correct.
And then next year, July 2025, mandatory implementation for all other taxpayers, including all of us over here, right? So we still have time. So feel free to do some research ourselves and find out more. Any last word, Mr. Shazli, want to close up for your sharing?
Thank you for inviting me and Mr. Takiuddin for briefly explain about e-filing, since this month is the session for e-filing as well as for e-invoicing session. Just to note that for service provider, the sandbox, inshallah, God willing, will be ready end of this month, April. If you would like to integrate with our system, the sandbox will be ready and will be announced in our microsite. Correct? So that's all. Selamat berpuasa dan selamat Hari Raya in advance. Right?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Shazli.
Happy long holiday, all right?
Yeah, happy long holiday. Happy Ramadan. And let us go back to the main slide. Can we have our main slide ready so that we have a last thing to do for all participants? Mr. Karil and Mr. Shipa, can you put up the main slide? Okay. Is there any? All right. Or perhaps, let me just share mine. All right. So, okay, can you guys see this? So this is the e-evaluation forms. Yeah, basically for all participants, you are required to scan this and go into this evaluation form, complete the assessment so that you can actually obtain your CPDs, okay, or your professional development hours, yeah, development hours, so that you can actually claim it from here. So I will freeze this screen so that you can have time to scan, or perhaps you may want to type in your browser. Either way is fine. So feel free to do that. Yeah. So with that, thank you so much for your participations. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate your questions and your participation and time. Please forgive if, let's say, we are not accommodating all of your questions, or perhaps not all of your inquiries, right?
Mr. Sam, sorry, one last word. Can we take a group photo?
Can, no problem. All right, so let me stop sharing first. Okay, let us take a group photo, all right? So everyone, can you on your video? Sylvia, Miss Chow, okay, Arif, Juan. Okay, Mr. Shazli, all right. Okay, all right. Let us, 1 second. Okay, let us look at the camera. Let us look at the camera. 3, 2, 1. Snap. All right. Okay. Wow. Awesome. Okay, let me share back my screen. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Shazli. Yeah, thank you so much, team LHDNM. And thank you so much, MFPC.
Thank you, Mr. Sam.
All right.
How many participants joined this session?
For your session,